When my twin sister Martha called me at 11 o'clock at night, voice shaking, barely whispering into the phone, I knew something was terribly wrong. We've shared everything for 62 years. I can feel when she's hurting even from 3 states away. Maggie, she whispered. I need you. I didn't ask questions. I just said, I'm coming. I threw clothes into a suitcase and drove through the night from my home in Portland to her place in Bellingham, Washington. 6 hours of dark highway, my hands gripping the steering wheel, my mind racing with possibilities. Martha had remarried 5 years ago to a man named Richard, a retired accountant who seemed charming at first. But over the past year, her calls had become less frequent. Her voice had changed. She'd become quieter, more uncertain. I arrived at dawn. The house looked perfect from the outside, a nice ranch-style home with a well-kept lawn. But when Martha opened the door, I saw what she'd been hiding. She was wearing a turtleneck in warm weather. When she hugged me, she winced. Let me see, I said, closing the door behind me. She pulled down the collar, bruises, dark purple fingerprints on her throat. My blood ran cold, then boiled hot. Did he do this? Martha's eyes filled with tears. I fell, she said automatically. Then she looked at me, really looked at me, and the dam broke. No, he grabbed me. I forgot to pick up his prescription, and he just... Maggie, I'm so confused all the time. He says I'm losing my memory, that I'm becoming incompetent, that I can't be trusted with anything anymore. I helped her sit down on the couch. Where is he now? Golf. He'll be back around 2. I had 6 hours. I made coffee, and my sister told me everything. Richard had slowly taken control of every aspect of her life. First, he convinced her to add his name to her accounts for convenience. Then he said her memory was getting bad, showed her instances where she'd supposedly forgotten things. He'd hidden her car keys, then acted concerned when she couldn't find them. He'd made doctor's appointments for her without her knowledge, told the doctor she was having memory issues. The doctor had been skeptical, but Richard was convincing. He's stealing from you, I said. He's gaslighting you about your memory so he can control everything. I don't know what's real anymore, Martha whispered. Maybe I am losing it. Your memory is fine. I talked to you 2 weeks ago about Mom's peach cobbler recipe and you recited it from memory, every detail. Someone with memory problems couldn't do that. Martha looked at me with such hope it broke my heart. Then an idea hit me. A crazy, probably illegal, definitely risky idea. What if we switched places? I said. Just for a week or so. You come stay at my house in Portland, rest. See your own doctor. And I'll stay here as you. Martha stared at me. We haven't done that since we were teenagers. We're identical twins. I've kept my hair the same length as yours. We wear the same size. He's barely paying attention to you anyway. He won't notice. What would you do? Find out what he's really up to. Gather evidence. Protect you. Martha was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. We had 4 hours before Richard came home. Martha showed me everything. Where things were kept, Richard's routines, his habits. He left for golf every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 8, came home at 2. He worked from home the other days, mostly in his office with the door closed. He demanded dinner at 6 sharp. He controlled the television remote, the thermostat, even which lights could be on. What about your phone? I asked. He checks it. He has the passcode. Of course he did. Martha packed a small bag. We worked out a system. She'd call my phone only during Richard's golf times. I'd text her with code words. We hugged tight before she left. Be careful, she said. I will. You rest. See Dr. Morrison like we discussed. Get your own evidence. After she left, I studied myself in the mirror. I was wearing Martha's clothes, her wedding ring, her watch. We looked exactly alike, as we always had. Same steel gray hair cut to our shoulders, same blue eyes, same small build. 62 years of sharing a face. When Richard came home at 2:15, I was in the kitchen, my heart pounding. Martha, he called, where's my lunch? Here we go. I walked out. He barely looked at me, just dropped his golf bag by the door and walked past me to the refrigerator. I asked you to have lunch ready, he said, his voice carrying that edge Martha had told me about. I forgot, I said, testing the waters. He slammed the refrigerator door. You're becoming useless. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You can't remember simple things. I bit my tongue to keep from snapping back. Martha would have apologized. So I did. I'm sorry. I'll make you something now. He grunted and walked to his office. I made him a sandwich, hands shaking with anger. When I brought it to his office, I glanced at his computer screen. Spreadsheets. Bank accounts. Over the next few days, I learned Richard's patterns. He was methodical, controlling, and cruel in small ways. He criticized everything. The dinner was too cold, then too hot. I'd put his coffee cup in the wrong spot. I'd used the wrong towel. Nothing was right. But I also started investigating. On Thursday morning, after he left for golf, I went into his office. His computer required a password, but I found his notebook in the desk drawer. People like Richard always write things down. Sure enough, there were passwords listed. I logged into his computer and found everything. He'd been systematically draining Martha's retirement account. She'd had nearly $400,000 saved from her years teaching elementary school. Now there was less than $50,000. The rest had been transferred to accounts in Richard's name only. I felt sick. I took photos of everything with my phone. But it got worse. I found emails to his daughter from his first marriage, a woman named Patricia. She lived 2 hours away in Seattle. The emails talked about handling Martha, about her deteriorating condition, about getting power of attorney established before Martha became incompetent. They were planning to have her declared mentally unfit. I took more photos. Then I did something risky. I forwarded key emails to my own address and deleted them from his sent folder. That evening, Patricia came for dinner. Richard had told me that morning another command disguised as information. Patricia was in her 40s, polished and cold. She looked at me with barely concealed contempt. "Hello, Martha," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "How are you feeling?" "I'm fine," I said. "Dad says you've been having memory problems." She exchanged a look with Richard. "I don't think so," I said carefully. Patricia smiled. "Well, that's often how it starts. People don't realize they're having issues." I wanted to throw my wine in her face. Instead, I served dinner. They talked about me like I wasn't there, about arrangements that needed to be made, about a good facility Patricia had found, about how sad it was, but necessary. I smiled and nodded and screamed inside. After Patricia left, Richard turned to me. "You're lucky to have people who care about you," he said. "Patricia's found a wonderful memory care place. Much better than struggling here." "I don't need memory care," I said. His face changed. "Don't be difficult. You're sick. You need help." "I'm not sick." He stepped closer. "Yes, you are, and the sooner you accept that, the better." I saw it then, the threat behind his eyes. This was how he'd gotten the bruises on Martha's neck, when she resisted, when she pushed back. But I wasn't Martha, and I wasn't afraid. "Back up," I said, my voice hard. He blinked, surprised, then angry. "What did you say?" I said, "Back up." "You don't scare me." His hand came up, fast, reaching for my arm. But I'd taken self-defense classes after my divorce 20 years ago. I stepped aside, grabbed his wrist, and twisted. He yelped. "Touch me again," I said quietly, "and you'll regret it." I let go and walked to the bedroom, locked the door. My whole body was shaking. That was stupid. I'd broken cover, but I couldn't let him put his hands on me. I waited for him to pound on the door, to yell, but there was only silence. The next morning, he acted like nothing had happened. But he was careful around me now, watchful. I knew I was running out of time. That day, while he was supposedly working in his office, I went to Martha's bank. I'd found her ID and documents. The bank manager, a kind woman named Susan, had known Martha for years. "I'm concerned about some transactions on my account," I said. Susan pulled up the account. Her face went serious as she scrolled. "Mrs. Patterson, I have to tell you, these withdrawals have been concerning us too. They're not your normal pattern." "My husband made them," I said, "without my full knowledge." Susan leaned forward. "Do you want to file a dispute?" "Not yet, but I want to secure the remaining funds. Can we create a new account, in my name only?" We did. I transferred the remaining money to an account Richard couldn't access. Then I called a lawyer, a friend of a friend in Bellingham who handled elder abuse cases. Her name was Jennifer Chen. I told her everything. "Come to my office tomorrow," she said. "Bring the evidence you've gathered." That night, Richard received an alert about the account transfer. He came storming into the living room where I was reading. "What did you do?" His face was red, a vein pulsing in his temple. "I secured my money," I said calmly. "That's our money, joint assets." "No. It's my retirement fund. My name. My money. You can't do this. You're not mentally competent to make these decisions." "Try me." I stood up, meeting his eyes. "I've documented everything, Richard. Every transfer, every email to Patricia, every bit of your plan to steal from my sister and lock her away." His face went white. "Your sister?" "I'm Margaret. Martha's twin. She's safe. And you're done." I watched him process this. Shock, then rage, then calculation. "You can't prove anything," he said. "I have bank records, emails, photos of bruises. And Martha's talking to a doctor right now who'll confirm she has no memory problems. No one will believe you." Two old women making up stories. Elder abuse is a felony in Washington state. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult carries serious prison time. I'm a retired paralegal. I know exactly what I'm doing. Richard's hands clenched into fists. For a moment, I thought he might actually hit me, but then he seemed to deflate. "What do you want?" "Divorce papers, signed. You keep nothing but what you brought into the marriage. You return every penny you took from Martha's account. You stay away from her, forever. And if I don't, I go to the police. Today. Right now." We stared at each other. I didn't blink. "You're just like her," he finally said. "Stubborn, difficult." "No," I said. "I'm nothing like Martha. She's kind, trusting. She saw the best in you. I see exactly what you are." The next day, I met with Jennifer Chen. She'd already contacted the police, filed reports for financial exploitation and domestic violence. With the evidence I'd gathered, they opened an investigation immediately. Richard's lawyer contacted us within days. He wanted to settle. No criminal charges if he returned the money and signed the divorce papers. "No deal," Jennifer said. "He returns the money, signs the papers, and we still pursue charges. He doesn't get to abuse a woman and buy his way out." It took 6 weeks. Richard fought, but the evidence was overwhelming. He'd been sloppy, arrogant, sure that Martha would never stand up to him. He returned $340,000, signed papers giving up all claim to Martha's house, her pension, everything. The judge granted a permanent restraining order. Patricia tried to visit Martha once, to apologize. Martha shut the door in her face. The criminal case is still pending. Richard's looking at 3 to 5 years. His lawyer's trying to plead it down, but Jennifer's not budging. Martha moved to Portland, into a condo 2 blocks from mine. She's seeing a therapist, rebuilding her confidence. She volunteers at the elementary school where she used to teach. She's taking art classes. She's laughing again. Last week, we were having coffee on her balcony. The morning sun was warm, and we were planning a trip to the coast. "I still can't believe you did that," Martha said. "Switched places with me. Took him on." "Of course I did. You're my sister. My twin. We've been protecting each other since we were in the womb." "I was so weak," she said quietly. "I let him do all that." "No." I took her hand. "You were isolated, manipulated, abused. That's not weakness. That's being human. And you had the strength to call me, to let me help. That's not weak at all." She squeezed my hand. "Thank you, Maggie. Always." We sat there in comfortable silence. 2 old women who'd survived everything life threw at us. Divorce, loss, betrayal, and we'd come out the other side together. Because that's what sisters do, especially twin sisters. We're 2 halves of the same whole, and when one of us falls, the other catches her. I caught Martha, and if I had to do it again, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Richard thought he could break her down, steal from her, erase her. He thought she was alone and vulnerable, but she wasn't alone. She had me, and that made all the difference.